was a quiet morning 66 million years ago. The sky was bright, the forests of what we now call Mexico were alive with sounds, the heavy footsteps of the mighty Tyrannosaurus rex, the chirping of small mammals, and the rustling of ferns beneath the feet of creatures that had ruled Earth for over 150 million years. But that morning, something changed. Far above the clouds, a rock larger than Mount Everest hurtled toward Earth, faster than a bullet, glowing brighter than 1,000 suns. It wasn't just another meteor. It was the most catastrophic visitor our planet had ever received. When it hit, the world died in seconds. The asteroid slammed into the Yucatán Peninsula with unimaginable force, the energy of more than 10 billion nuclear bombs exploding at once. A blinding flash vaporized everything within hundreds of miles. The sky itself seemed to catch fire. And just like that, the reign of the dinosaurs began to crumble. But the story isn't that simple. Because while we often say, an asteroid killed the dinosaurs, scientists today believe the truth is far more complex. Some dinosaurs might have already been dying out. Earth's climate was changing. Volcanoes were erupting. The asteroid, some argue, was simply the final blow in a series of disasters that had already begun. So, who really killed the last dinosaur? Was it the asteroid, the volcanoes, the changing world, or something else entirely? To find the answer, we must rewind time. Long before the impact, the Earth was a paradise for giants. The late Cretaceous period, lush forests, warm seas, and continents that looked very different from today. North America was split in two by a shallow ocean. Huge reptiles ruled the land and sky. The king of them all was the Tyrannosaurus rex, a predator so powerful, its bite could crush bone like dry twigs. Nearby, herds of horned triceratops grazed peacefully. In the seas, massive reptiles called mosasaurs hunted prey with terrifying precision. But even in this golden age of dinosaurs, trouble was brewing beneath their feet. Deep inside the Earth, in what is now India, massive volcanic fields known as the Deccan Traps were awakening. Rivers of lava poured out for hundreds of thousands of years, releasing poisonous gases into the atmosphere. Temperatures began to rise. Acid rain fell. Life, even before the asteroid, was already struggling. Then came the final strike, the asteroid. Here's an incredible fact. Scientists discovered the asteroid's crime scene by accident in the 1980s. They found a thin layer of clay, rich in a rare element called iridium, an element common in asteroids but rare on Earth. That thin layer exists all around the world, buried in rocks. Above it, no dinosaur fossils. Below it, millions. It's the fingerprint of extinction. So yes, something massive happened. But the question remains, how did this one impact wipe out 75% of all species on Earth, including the last dinosaurs? What really unfolded in the hours, days, and years after that moment? Because while the asteroid may have delivered the final blow, the true killer was something invisible, something that would turn Earth into a world of fire, then darkness, and finally ice. The moment the asteroid struck Earth, the planet itself screamed. The impact unleashed a shockwave that raced around the globe faster than sound. Mountains trembled. Oceans rose in towering waves hundreds of feet high. Within minutes, forests thousands of miles away caught fire from the heat blast alone. Animals that survived the first seconds of impact had no idea that the true nightmare was only beginning. In what's now known as the Chicxulub crater, a hole over 100 miles wide was carved into the crust of the Earth. Molten rock and vaporized stone shot into the atmosphere, raining fire back down across the continents. For hours, the skies glowed red, and the surface of the planet was covered in burning debris. It wasn't just a single explosion, it was an entire planet on fire. Imagine this. Molten glass, formed from vaporized rock, fell like fiery rain across the world. Forests from North America to Asia were consumed in flames. Even the oceans boiled near the coasts. The smell of burning vegetation filled the air and animals fled, but there was nowhere to go. Here's a chilling fact. Scientists estimate that the asteroid impact released enough heat to ignite every tree on Earth. Global wildfires filled the skies with soot and ash, blocking out sunlight completely. The age of darkness had begun. Days turned into weeks, and the sunlight faded behind a thick black curtain of smoke. Temperatures plummeted. Photosynthesis, the process that feeds every plant, stopped. The great forests that once fed the dinosaurs withered away. Even the mightiest herbivores like the Triceratops starved. And if they died, so did their predators. Tyrannosaurus rex, the ruler of the late Cretaceous, found itself in a world without food. The once vibrant planet turned silent. Every roar faded into echoes of extinction. But not everything died. While the dinosaurs perished, smaller creatures, Birds, mammals, even some reptiles, managed to cling to life. Why? Because they were small, adaptable, and could survive on less. Insects burrowed underground. Tiny mammals scavenged the remains of a dying world. Seeds hidden in the soil waited patiently for the sun to return. That's one of the most astonishing facts about this extinction. It wasn't just destruction, it was evolution's reset button. The asteroid's chaos cleared the stage for something entirely new to rise. Still, the question remains, if some animals survived, why didn't the dinosaurs? Some of their cousins, like crocodiles, lived through it. Some birds are technically dinosaurs themselves. So what made the great ones fall while others endured? The answer lies in the years that followed, a time of freezing cold, poisonous air, and endless nights. Scientists call it impact winter. It was a world where the sun was gone, plants were dead, and survival depended on adaptation and luck. The true killing blow didn't come from the rock itself, but from what it did to Earth's fragile systems. Soon, ash clouds would wrap the planet like a coffin. Rain would turn to acid. Oceans would change color. And as the dinosaurs struggled to survive, the smallest creatures began to take over the ruins of their world. The age of dinosaurs had ended. The age of mammals was about to begin. The firestorm had ended, but what came next was even worse. After the asteroid's impact, billions of tons of ash, soot, and sulfur filled the atmosphere. The sky turned gray, then black. The sunlight vanished. For months, maybe years, the Earth was trapped under a blanket of darkness. Scientists call this time the impact winter, and it was unlike anything the planet had ever faced. Temperatures dropped to near freezing. The oceans, once warm and full of life, became cold and acidic. The air was filled with poison gases and acid rain poured from the skies. Photosynthesis, the process that keeps plants alive, stopped completely. For the dinosaurs, it was the beginning of the end. Imagine a triceratops wandering through the ashes, hungry and weak, searching for food that no longer grew. The once green world had turned to gray dust. Even the mightiest of predators, the Tyrannosaurus rex, was starving. There was no prey left, only death and silence. But not all life vanished. Deep in the shadows of extinction, small survivors clung to existence. One of the most incredible facts about this period is that tiny mammals, no larger than a rat, managed to endure what the dinosaurs could not. While giant creatures froze and starved, these small mammals hid underground, ate seeds and insects, and waited for the light to return. And they weren't alone. Some birds, the last true descendants of dinosaurs, also survived. With feathers for warmth and the ability to fly to safer areas, they outlasted their colossal cousins. Every bird you see today, from a sparrow to an eagle, is a living reminder of that survival. But let's go back to that darkness. The global winter may have lasted for decades. The Earth's average temperature dropped by over 20 degrees Celsius. In some regions, it even snowed, in places that had never known cold before. Volcanoes added to the horror. The Deccan Traps in India were still erupting, releasing even more toxic gases into the atmosphere: sulfur dioxide, carbon dioxide, and methane. These made the planet's air deadly and unstable. It was a 1-2 punch. The asteroid caused the fire, and the volcanoes kept the smoke. And here's an amazing fact. Scientists studying ancient rocks found tiny glass beads, called tektites, scattered across the world. These beads were formed from molten earth, thrown into the air by the impact, then falling back like cosmic rain. They're still being found today, in layers that mark the exact boundary between the age of dinosaurs and the age of mammals. Each one is a frozen moment of catastrophe. Over time, the Earth began to heal. The skies slowly cleared. The sunlight returned. But when it did, the world was almost unrecognizable. Forests were gone. Oceans were quiet. And the great beasts that once ruled the land were nowhere to be found. The last dinosaurs, the non-avian kind, had vanished. But extinction isn't the end of life. It's the beginning of something new. From the ashes of the dinosaurs' world, a new kind of creature began to dominate, small, clever, and adaptable. They didn't have teeth as sharp as T-Rex or horns like Triceratops. What they had was something far more powerful: intelligence. And their rise would change Earth forever. When the sun finally broke through the clouds, the Earth was a shadow of its former self. The dinosaurs were gone. The forests had burned. The oceans were still recovering from their acid scars. But in this broken, silent world, life found a way. Tiny green shoots began to push through the gray dust. Seeds that had been buried deep underground started to grow again. With the return of sunlight, plants breathed life back into the air. Slowly the planet began to heal. And with it came the survivors, the small, the hidden, the adaptable. Among them were the mammals, creatures that had lived quietly in the shadows of dinosaurs for over 100 million years. Before the impact, they were little more than nocturnal scavengers, darting between the feet of giants. But now, in a world without those giants, they had space to grow. Here's an incredible fact. Within just a few 100,000 years after the dinosaurs vanished, mammals had already begun to evolve into dozens of new shapes and sizes, from small insect eaters to early primates that would one day lead to us. The age of dinosaurs had ended, but the age of mammals had begun. Still, the echoes of the past lingered. Some creatures had managed to survive the extinction in surprising ways. Crocodiles, for example, survived almost unchanged. Their ability to live in water, eat anything, and slow their metabolism during tough times helped them outlast the dinosaurs. They are, in many ways, living fossils, ancient survivors of a vanished world. Then there were the birds. Once small feathered dinosaurs, they took to the skies and never looked back. Their hollow bones, warm-blooded bodies, and ability to fly made them adaptable to almost any environment. Every chirp you hear today is the song of a survivor from 66 million years ago. But not everything was immediate recovery. For thousands of years, Earth remained unstable. Volcanic activity continued, and global temperatures swung wildly. The oceans, once acidic, slowly regained their balance. Coral reefs began to regrow. And from this chaos, new ecosystems emerged: jungles, grasslands, mountains. If you were to stand on Earth a few million years after the extinction, you'd see a completely different planet. The massive reptiles were gone, replaced by strange new mammals, hoofed creatures, early predators, and the ancestors of monkeys. The Earth was quieter, smaller, more delicate, but full of possibility. It's humbling to think that if the asteroid had missed by even a few minutes, dinosaurs might still rule the world today, and mammals, including humans, might never have evolved at all. That's the astonishing truth. Our very existence is a product of that destruction. The asteroid didn't just end an age, it set the stage for everything that came after. And yet, the mystery remains. Was it truly the asteroid alone that wiped out the dinosaurs? Or did the planet's volcanic fury, climate change, and collapsing ecosystems all combine into one unstoppable force? Scientists still debate this. Some believe the Deccan Traps volcanoes were already killing the dinosaurs slowly, poisoning the skies and oceans long before the asteroid struck. Others say the impact alone was powerful enough to do it all within days. Either way, one fact remains undeniable: it was the most catastrophic event in Earth's history. And it changed everything. But there's one final question we must face, not about the past but about us. Because what happened 66 million years ago, could it happen again? 66 million years have passed since the last dinosaur took its final breath. The world they once ruled has transformed completely. Mountains have risen, oceans have shifted, and new species, including us, now walk the Earth. But even now, the ghosts of that ancient catastrophe still echo in every corner of the planet. Every layer of rock that carries traces of iridium, every fossil frozen in time, every bird that soars across the sky, they all whisper the same story: the day the world ended and began again. Scientists today can read that story with incredible precision. By studying the rocks buried deep within the Chicxulub crater in Mexico, they've discovered microscopic crystals that formed in seconds after the impact. Those crystals are like tiny time machines, capturing the exact moment of destruction. One of the most amazing facts about this discovery is that it confirms not just the asteroid's impact, but the unimaginable scale of it. The shockwaves traveled around the world within hours. It was global devastation in real time. But as we look back, a haunting realization emerges. That asteroid didn't just kill the dinosaurs. It gave rise to us. If the dinosaurs had survived, mammals might never have evolved beyond small, mouse-like creatures. There would be no humans, no cities, no civilizations. The asteroid that ended their world made ours possible. It's a chilling and humbling truth. Life on Earth is fragile, shaped by luck, timing, and cosmic chance. And here's something even more astonishing. Space rocks like the one that ended the dinosaurs still exist. Astronomers estimate that thousands of near-Earth asteroids orbit our planet every day. Most are small, but some are big enough to repeat history. In 2013, a meteor exploded over Chelyabinsk, Russia, with the force of 30 atomic bombs. It shattered windows, injured over 1,000 people, and it was only 20 meters wide. The dinosaur killer, by comparison, was more than 10 kilometers wide. If such a rock were ever to strike again, it would be a disaster beyond imagination. That's why scientists around the world constantly scan the skies. NASA's DART mission, launched in 2022, was humanity's first real attempt to deflect an asteroid, to make sure that what happened to the dinosaurs never happens to us. For the first time in history, life on Earth can fight back against the forces of space. The dinosaurs never had that chance. And yet, in a strange way, they live on. Not just in fossils or museums, but in every bird that flies above us. Their DNA still beats in wings and feathers. Every time a hawk soars or a pigeon coos, we are seeing the living descendants of the creatures that once ruled the Earth. The dinosaur story didn't end, it evolved. And so, when we ask, who killed the last dinosaur? The answer is not just the asteroid or the volcanoes or the darkness. It was all of them, nature, chaos, and time, conspiring in one cosmic moment to reset life on Earth. But the deeper truth is this: the death of the dinosaurs was not the end of the world. It was the beginning of ours.